Today we're going to talk about the median and the altitude. So if you get your notes out, first thing says a segment joining a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. Okay? So that's what a median is. From the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. And what that does, it split that line segment into equal parts. The three medians of a triangle intersect at a point called the centroid. Okay? Now, if we look at this diagram, we're going to name the medians. Remember, it's from a vertex to the middle of the opposite side. All right, so BF would be one of them. CD, and then AE. The centroid is where all three of those intersect, and that happens to be at point P. So let's look at what properties exist for each median. All right, so let's look at this one. BP and PF. Those are your two medians. BP is equal to 2 PF. Okay? BP is 2/3 of the whole line segment. In this case, is BF. All right, now let's talk about this other portion, PF. PF is 1/2 of BP, the larger segment. And PF is 1/3 of the whole median, BF. Okay, so if we look at any median, the larger portion is 2/3 of the whole line. The smaller portion is 1/3 of the whole line. Okay, so that's going to help us solve some of these problems. Excuse me for the coughing. All right, so the first thing you'll need to do is label what you know. Okay, so let's just label all these. JK, that's here, is 22. KN is 13. And OL is 18. Okay? All right, so let's look and see what we've got. For the line segments, remember that the median cuts the opposite side into equal parts. Okay? So here on MK or KM, we have half of that line of 22. All right, so KM is 11. In L, remember this is a median, so it's going to cut this line into equal parts. So if KN is 13, then NL is also 13. The whole line would be 26. All right, JO. If OL is 18, then JO is 18. And then that makes JL 36. Okay, so I want you to pause the video. I want you to try the next one. Let's see what you come up with. All right, we're going to plug in the values we know. So TZ is 60. XZ So XZ is 28. And then WZ is 25. Okay. So they gave us a couple of, one long segment and two short segments. All right. So remember, from the vertex to where the centroid is, where point Z is 2/3 of the whole line. So that would make ZY 30. Remember, we said it was half the length of the other one. All right. XZ was 28, so ZV is going to be double that. Okay? So that's going to be 56. ZU, if WZ is 25, then ZU is twice that, so it's 50. All right? So let's put the values in here that we've gotten so far. Okay, now they're asking you for TY, which is the whole median here. So that's 90. And they're asking for VX, which is this whole median, which is 84. Okay, so very important that you label what you know so that you can move from there. Okay. All right, let's look at these two. Segment AG is 8. Segment GF, so GF here, is 7. BG, which is here, is 5. Okay, so they're asking you different segments. GD would be half as long as AG, so that's 4. AD, the whole length, would be 12. CG would be twice as much as the smaller segment, so it's 14. GE, long section here, would be twice that small section, which would be 10. And then BE is the whole median, and that will give us 15. Okay, so pause the video, do the next one, and then we'll check your answers. Okay, so I'm hoping you did okay with that. Check your answers. Make sure that you are doing it correctly. All right. Then the other part we need to look at is altitude. So this is a segment that joins a vertex to the opposite side so that it is perpendicular to that side. So in other words, we have created a right angle. Okay? Now, altitudes can be inside the triangle. Okay? They can be outside the triangle. And they can be on the triangle. If it's a right triangle, then the altitude is right there at the right angle. Okay? The three altitudes of a triangle intersect at a point called the orthocenter. Orthocenter. So let's list the altitudes. So remember, they're from vertex perpendicular to the side. So BF, AE, and CD. And then the orthocenter is where they meet. That is point P. Okay, now there's not anything special that the altitude does other than give you a right angle and tell you how tall the triangle is. Your triangle area would be based on whatever your altitude is drawn to. Okay? All right, so you've just got a couple of problems there, which I think you can do on your own, but we'll check them. So this one says YB is an altitude. And then they gave you a measure for this angle. Because YB is an altitude, we know that's a right angle. So we're going to set this equal to 90 degrees. And we're going to solve for X. So they asked you to find X. So let's solve. If we add 6, we get 96. And if we divide by 6, we get 16. So x is 16. But then it asks you what the measure of this angle is. It's the same angle we pointed to, so we know that it's a 90-degree angle. Okay? The second one gives you RS as an altitude, and then it gives you two other angles. So let's follow the letters to see what angle. SRT, so right here is 4x minus 8, and STR, which is right here, is 6x plus 13. I'll mess my plus off there. Now, if these are our two values for our angles, and we know that this one is a right angle, how can we solve? We could add them all together and put it equal to 180, or we can just add these two and put it equal to 90, because we already have a 90-degree angle. Okay? So we would move the 5 and divide by the 10. You get 8.5 for x. That's all they asked for. Okay? The last one also tells you that you have an altitude. They want you to find x and the measure of the two segments that they've marked. Okay? Now we're going to find x by using the fact that this is a right angle. And we have a measure for this right angle at 4x minus 6. So if we put 4x minus 6 equal to 90, and we add our 6 and divide by our 4, we get 24 for x. Now that we know that x is 24, we're going to plug it in for x in both of these segments because it asks for each of them. Okay? So if we do 24 plus 7, then segment CD is 31. And if we do 2 times 24 minus 15, then segment DB is 33. Okay? So you have a review sheet to work on. Do your best and help each other on it.